All right, what's going on, YouTube? This is Boxing Wave. So I wanted to do a follow-up video from the fight last night. Okay, I already did a review. If you haven't seen the review of my fight, check it out. It's very excited. It was very, I love the fight. I didn't really care about who was going to win. I was hoping, even though I didn't think he was going to win, I was hoping Williams won the fight. I was rooting for him, but I honestly, I did a prediction. I thought Hurd was going to take it. I thought Hurd at some point was going to stop him because of Williams' conditioning. But Williams did his thing, won the fight, clear to me. It was competitive, yeah. But I think Williams clearly won the fight. I don't think it was as close as the Charlo. I thought the Charlo Harrison fight was a little bit harder to pick between the two, even though at least from the reactions I've seen and the reaction in the building that night, because I was there, I think more people edged it for Harrison. All right. Now, uh, these two lost. All right, Hurd and Charlo lost. There's been back and forth between the two. It was a lot of build up. A lot of people wanted to see that fight, and they both lost their last two fights. They both lost their titles. Okay, and all that really means is this. It's nothing about it's not really about losing. I know we're in a culture. The culture of the sport now has all been about being undefeated. It's about being undefeated. I think Floyd had a lot of influence on the whole no one's beat me before. And that has kind of changed the culture. Has even changed with the way they announce the fights, by saying that these guys are defending their undefeated record. That's not a defense. You're not defending a title. That's just anyone that's undefeated is defending their undefeated record. If you come in there, your first professional fight, you're defending your undefeated record. That's just a dumb concept, but that's just the way it's promoted. That's another form of promotion. So I don't buy too much into that. But it's not really about the loss. It's the comeback. It's the bounce back. Jamel and Hurd, they both have shown their flaws even in their wins. With every fight you get into, you're just giving more information to the other fighters in the division on how to beat you. Because there's weaknesses that are being exploited with every fight. And Jamel and Hurd have both showed a lot of weaknesses building up these wins. Jamel, who left Ronnie Shields, all right? Jamal is still with Ronnie Shields, but Jamel, who left with Ronnie Shields, started training with Derek James, started to be more of an aggressive fighter. Before he was more on fighting on his back foot, circling around in the ring, using his jabs, setting up shots with his jabs. Wasn't a power puncher, just trying to outscore you, okay? Now he's just more coming forward, front foot heavy, trying to land one big shot. Doesn't make as much of a use of his jab like he once did. It's been effective, but there's been fights where you're like, I don't know, We've seen some issues, at least I've seen some issues, when he fought that Jackson fight where he lost the first 5 rounds. He was getting outboxed easily by Jackson, but we all gave him a pass for that because he was just transitioning into fighting a new way, and he was sticking to the game plan, which was probably, I'm assuming, at some point one of these shots are gonna land. And I think the problem with that is when you're picking up these wins, and sometimes it's gonna look impressive. I was very impressed with the Erickson Lubin fight, because if you watch that knockout in slow motion, you can see that he perfectly placed that punch. It looked like that was a punch that they worked on landing. So shots like that are great shots, But there were times, even in the Hatley fight, where I thought Jamel's getting unnecessarily touched too much, and I just believe that he's better than that defensively, but he wasn't showing it because he's just trying to get the knockout. And in the Tony Harrison fight, what happens when you're getting outboxed, you're down some rounds, and you're not making adjustments. You just keep continuously doing the same thing. You're getting hit and hit and hit. And that goes to the Hurd fight. You fight these guys like Trout, You fight guys like Tony Harrison, where luckily with him, he's a different type of pressure fighter. He's not like Jamel, who's just trying to load on one punch. Hurd wears you down. He's a big guy. He's very Harrison was doing good against Hurd. Trout was doing good against Hurd. Lara was doing good against Hurd. But these guys were getting wear down by Hurd and the volume, and they just couldn't keep it going. J Rock on this in this fight, you can tell, like, even listening to him in his post fight, and even the following interviews he done after that, outside of the post fight interview, he said that he's talking about the way that he trained to prepare for this fight. It is, after listening to him and watching the fight, it's like, now I'm like, there's no way Hurd was gonna win this fight when the guy is preparing himself like that. We know that Hurd can get outboxed. We know that he has no defense, but it's all about preparation. And J-Rock probably went into a whole different mode. Like I said in my review, I mean, this guy, I can just see him preparing and fighting like lightweights, light heavyweights and cruiserweights, big guys that's just smothering him. And you go in the train camp and you preparing like that. I can only imagine. He was saying something about he was sitting in hotel rooms and not even getting his haircut, getting a haircut. He was really preparing. He was saying, like, I think they just underestimated me, and I can see that. But it's all about the bounce back. And when it comes to Jamel Charlo and when it comes to Jarrett Hurd, Jamel Charlo, are you going to go in there with the same game plan, or have this fight made you realize what needs to be done here? You're fighting a really crafty fighter, okay? A guy that worked behind his jab well. He landed his jab at will, at bare minimum. Might not been throwing the biggest power shots. Definitely wasn't doing that. But he was consistent with the jab, all right? And timing, you even make you stumble a little bit with the jab. Are you going to still fight that same kind of fight? We need you to do something else. Give him different looks. Go to the body more. Throw some more jabs. You have an excellent jab. The Charlos both have great jabs. Counter his jabs with your jab. We need to see more of that instead of just loading up. But hopefully, Jamel and Derek James could come in with a good game plan on how to turn this fight around. Hopefully, we got robbed. Hopefully, we got different judges. Hope they're not coming in with that attitude, because Harrison was boxing extremely well. All right. And then the same, when it comes to Hurd, if they are going to have an immediate rematch or whatever, Hurd needs to understand, you know what? You're a big guy. You can take a punch. But what happens if you can't stop the fighter and he's up on points because he's a better boxer? What if, look, I mean, not only is he a better boxer, but I mean, J-Rock was beating him on the inside, and he was taking the punches well too, without having to take as many punches. But the big shots J-Rock did take, he was able to stand up to him and continue fighting. We saw how Jamal was easily hurt him or whatever, but Hurd is more of a wear and tear type of guy. He's not a one punch type of knockout fighter. Jamal is more of a one punch guy. So with all that being said, these guys need to have a different game plan in preparation. Now, real quick, Jaime Munguia against Dennis Hogan. I think Hogan won the fight. I don't really believe that you can give Jaime Munguia more than 4 rounds. I mean, I think even giving him 5 is a stretch. I think Hogan won. He outboxed him. He landed at will. I think Jaime really didn't land much. Was just missing all fight long. He got his few rounds in, but it wasn't until Hogan was back against the ropes. It really was an impressive fight, and this is why people say that Golden Boy and Canelo and Oscar, this is why people say things about the judges, because it's fights like this where Oscar is the promoter. They're fighting in Mexico, and this guy is clearly outboxing them, and the judges give it away to Jaime Munguia. You know, he didn't look impressive. All he did was come forward. Even at the points where Hogan was walking him down, he didn't seem to really know what to do. Jaime Munguia, I know he's a young guy, but he's a champion. He is holding one of the titles, and we shouldn't just exclude him from the other top fighters. There's a lot of fighters there at 154 that are not only the champions, and the recent champions are not only better than him, in my opinion, but even some of the other guys, like a Brian Castano, or some of the other recent guys that's been champions or fought at that level, are better than Jaime Munguia to me. All he does is brawl and pressure. Has zero defense. Just that's all he is. He's a big guy at the weight. He was able to beat Saddam Ali, but since then, he didn't look good against Liam Smith. He didn't look good against Dennis Hogan, who landed that will. Unfortunately, just didn't have the power to really, really hurt him. But Jaime is not really that impressive to me, man. And I think if he were to unify, I think he would get destroyed and probably get stopped by some of these guys. Not impressed with him. All right. But Oscar is going to build him, but they should stop comparing him and building up him by using Canelo's and Triple G's name. Canelo would destroy Jaime Munguia, and so would Triple G. He's just not even close. He's not even better than the 154 guys to me. All right. I get it. He's young, but he holds a title. Once you hold a title, that's it. The same thing with Tank Davis. Once you hold a title, I don't want to hear like he's young, he's not. No, you beat Jose Pedraza. You knocked him out. You stopped him. You destroyed him. I don't want to hear, he's too young. I don't want to hear that. All right. So anyway, that's my thoughts, man. One thing about Harrison and that face-off, he's usually a very reserved fighter. He can't let that drama get to his head. He needs to come in for as far as his game, because I didn't really get to speak on him. His game plan is to continue doing what he's doing, boxing. Just don't get emotionally attached to a point where it's making you want to get a knockout and you're going to fight a fight that you don't normally fight. Fight your fight. Let this guy do the talking. That's what Jamel does. He's all about the drama. He's all about the smoke. But you do what you're normally used to doing. That's my advice for Tony Harrison. Don't jump into all that, because I thought, listen, somebody talk down and you go talk back. That's cool. I have no problem with the shit talking, but it went a little too long. It got to a point where I'm like, all right, Tony, all right, don't lose your cool. Don't go into this fight thinking, like, use it as motivation, but don't go into the fight thinking and thinking a different way, trying to fight a different type of fight. You did well in the first fight, Go in there with that mindset, like you won the fight, and all you got to do is win again, All right, see you guys later. Peace.